Ladies and gentlemen, as we have gathered here to gain insights, share experience, and find inspiration, the theme for this summit is Advances in Manufacturing and Quality, being patient centricity. In this dynamic and complex industry, it is essential that we engage in learning how to achieve quality and manufacturing excellence while maintaining the highest standards of compliance and quality. As India aims to cement its position as the pharmacy of the world. The theme of this summit underscores the industry's commitment to adopting a forward-looking perspective on reimagining the future of manufacturing and quality. This event aims to bring together key stakeholders from the government, industry, regulators, and academia from both India and internationally, to discuss and strategize on several future-looking themes. These include the use of AI in pharma, smart operations, cybersecurity, resilient supply chains, data and documentation imperatives, opportunities in biopharma and skilling, along with a renewed focus on quality compliance. At its core, this summit aspires to be the pinnacle of information and clarity for the pharma sector in its pursuit of excellence in quality and manufacturing. With this in mind, we encourage all of you to please ask questions and participate in discussions on key topics. Our goal is to create an engaging environment that fosters curiosity and dialogue. By the end of this summit, we hope everyone will return to work energized, ready to implement the insights gained here, and having learned something new. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are ready to begin our inaugural session, and I'd like all of you to please join me in welcoming on stage our esteemed guests for the inaugural session. Please welcome on stage Mr. Sudarshan Jain, Secretary General, Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Nilesh Gupta, Chair, Quality Committee, IPA, and Managing Director, Lupin. We are delighted to have with us Dr. Rajeev Singh Raghuvanshi, Drug Controller General of India, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. We are also joined by Dr. Arunish Chawla, Secretary to the Government of India, the Department of Pharmaceuticals. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Chawla. He will be joining us shortly. Yes, thank you. Gentlemen, may I request you to please take a seat on the dais? And now I'd like to invite on the podium, Mr. Sudarshan Jain, Secretary General, Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, to welcome and set the context for the 9th Global Pharmaceutical Quality Summit 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now joined by Dr. Arunish Chawla, Secretary to the Government of India and the Department of Pharmaceuticals. Let's give him a warm welcome. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And may I invite Mr. Jain to set the context and welcome everyone. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. A very warm welcome to the 9th Global Pharma Quality Summit 2024. This is the flagship event of IPA focused on quality and taking the quality agenda forward. This is perhaps the only summit in the world of its kind where global regulators from different parts of the world come together. We have policy shapers, Indian regulators, US regulators, MHRA, and all the regulators from different parts of the world. We have got academia, we have got industry practitioners, we have got industry thought leaders. And this provides a great platform for sharing the knowledge and taking the quality agenda forward. At the very outset, we would like to thank Dr. Arunish Chawla, Secretary, Department of Pharma, for the keynote address. Thank you, Dr. Chawla, for being with us today despite multiple priorities at this time. I will also like to thank Dr. Rajeev Raghuvanshi, Drug Controller General of India, who has been playing a very important role to shape the quality agenda for the nation. We will have a special message from Dr. Peter Cavazzoni, Director CDER, USFDA. We couldn't have Dr. Sarah Macmillan, the Country Director of USFDA, because she is in transitioning her role, but we'd like to thank her for her contribution and also for the support to take the quality agenda forward. This summit is growing from strength to strength over the years. And the theme for this summit this year is Advances in Manufacturing and Quality Agenda, focused on patient. In fact, patient is the center of everything what we do, and quality is fundamental as far as healthcare industry is concerned. Our whole industry is committed to take the quality agenda forward, and that's why we have representation from all sectors of the industry. We have got OPPI, Anil himself is there. We have got Machinery Association being present here. Ajit Singh is here. And we have got INMA representatives who are here, which shows high commitment of our industry to take the quality agenda forward. We have in this meeting speakers from all over the world. We have got IT experts, HR experts, quality and manufacturing experts, because at the end of the day, we think that quality is an integrated agenda, and everyone in the company should think of quality being fundamental to take forward our industry. In this meeting, we have 450 participants. We have got 16 sessions, and there will be 25 speakers, 45 speakers from different parts of the world. And all of them, they will try to build on the agenda, taking forward the quality. We'll be talking of the best practices. And the strength of this summit is that the discussions are very candid, very open. We try to focus on where we have moved forward, what are the areas we have to focus going forward, and the discussions are challenging sometimes, thought-provoking, because that's the sense of this summit. I'd like to once again thank all the participants who have joined all the way. 9 o'clock is too early a time in Bombay, but it is great to see all the participants here. We will have 450 participants as far as this meeting is concerned, and focused on primarily one single agenda, which is quality, 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 because that's the focus of this whole thing. McKinsey has been our knowledge partner. I would like to thank McKinsey. And at this moment, I would like to thank Nilesh Gupta, MD of Lupin, who has been spearheading and guiding the quality agenda for IPA. We will, at the end tomorrow, panel discussion where the industry captains will be joining, and they will be setting up what we need to do next as far as building the quality agenda. That's the strength of this, that industry captains, Nilesh Gupta, coming themselves for addressing and being part of the session, hearing what is going on well, and what we need to do forward as far as the industry is concerned. I'd like to welcome you all once again, all the participants. There is a significant participation from the media. I'd like to thank the media for being here, and I'm sure the deliberations in this summit you will find insightful, thought-provoking, challenging, and forward-looking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jain, for sharing your thoughts and also setting the context and tone for this summit. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to invite Mr. Nilesh Gupta, Chair Quality Committee at IPA and Managing Director at Lupin, to deliver his opening remarks. Very warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. You know, Sudarshan, you're right. Getting to anywhere in Bombay at 9 o'clock is very difficult, especially with the rains. But, I mean, all of you being here shows how important quality is. You know, on the personal side, I had the, unfortunate privilege of watching our medical system, our hospital system very closely for the last 10 days. And you realize, when you see people taking medicine, you realize they can never question the quality of the medicine that you're taking. It has to be impeccable. You don't have time to think when you take medicines like that, when you're in a hospital setting, for example. That is what we all aspire for. I mean, the quality of what we produce has to be impeccable, that people should never question the quality of what they're taking. First of all, a very warm welcome to you all. I'd like to extend my appreciation to everybody here. We have representatives from government, regulatory bodies. We obviously have academics, and we most of all have people from our pharma industry here. This is a record number of people. I'm sure there's going to be people who, I can see them trickling in from the back already. I think this room is going to be full very soon. But it just shows how important quality is. This is the 9th time that we're doing it. It's the 9th Global Pharmaceutical Quality Summit. As many of you know, this brings manufacturers, academia, regulators, government bodies together to really facilitate discussion and decisions, actually, to bring meaningful and actionable outcomes that we can then take back. Goal is achieving quality and manufacturing excellence. As you all know, the India pharma industry is a vital player in the global market. The world cannot exist without medicines being supplied from India. This position was not given to us on a platter. We worked for it hard work, dedication, science, innovation. There's so much that has gone in for multiple decades for us to create this position. As you would know, India is home to the largest number of USFDA inspected sites outside of the US, close to 600, amongst the highest WHO inspected sites, amongst the highest European inspected sites as well. No other country can boast of this. I feel very proud of the position that we have. We're truly the pharmacy for the world. But on the compliance front, we absolutely need to do better. Even being on par with others is just not good enough. If we're going to be the biggest supplier in the world, we have to be the best in the world as well. Our quality agenda is far from done. If we just in the last 12 months, we've had unfortunate incidences which showcase our quality in a bad light. And whether it's one or two players or it's a series of players where these issues come up, it paints the industry in a bad light. We've had the benefit of FDA, engaging with FDA in India, in the US, in other parts of the world as well, and the same messages keep coming over and over again. Now more than ever, as the world recognizes India's role in pharmaceutical supply, everybody would want to minimize shortages, secure supply, but assure quality of supply. It is up to us collectively to meet these expectations. The IPA Quality Forum was created exactly for this 9 years ago to achieve that quality excellence. Forum has taken up many initiatives, but if I think back at the last 9 years, there's 3 phases in which we've operated. Phase 1 were when we were forming, activating, mobilization. Phase 2 was started about 7 or 8 years ago, where we really started talking more about best practices for quality systems and the like. And we finally transitioned to phase 3 about 4 years ago, where we focus on quality mindset, digitalization, and capability building. This current phase 3 is now focused on building a strong foundation of quality culture and systems. The breadth and depth of the forum is considerable. Knowledge development, over 15 technical documents, 20 industry-leading events. This quality summit, advanced GMP workshops. We had 150 sessions of those to date, monthly webinars where people can learn about 483s, warning letters, other regulatory issues as they come up. And these are all open to industry. This is not a subset of companies. IPA is a set of 24, 25 companies, but this is open to industry. The other key part of what this forum focuses on is performance benchmarking. Participating companies benchmark key quality metrics across companies to create best-in-class standards and that perfect goal to which we can chase. Importantly, you get to track year on year and facilitate cross-learning from companies as well. And the third very important part is collaboration. We obviously, you can see here, we have regulators from around the world, we have government bodies, we have academicians. The train very large volume of leaders on quality operations, on CGMP modules. Teachers are trained in IPA facilities under capability building forums. The industry is at the cusp of transformation. As we enter into a new paradigm, the summit now changes to advancing quality and manufacturing agenda. That is some of the topics that we're going to talk about. As you would all know, the dominant topic in the last year has been AI. And I think using AI responsibly can be fantastic in a manufacturing environment or in quality. We'll talk a lot about topics like this in the next 2 days. My request from you is to use this opportunity. You don't get this kind of people in this kind of forums like this, right? They're available to engage, to ask questions, to discuss. Use that. It's a privilege to have something like that. Maximize what you can get out of this conference. I would like to also announce, something that we had promised for a couple of years that we're finally delivering on. We talked about setting up a state-of-the-art skilling institute. We have a name. It's called PAGE. Sudarshan is clapping because he has done a lot of hard work, and IP has done a lot of hard work for this, but it's called the Pharma Academy of Global Excellence. We hope to have our first batch in within the next 12 months. And there's a lot that has gone in. Industry has contributed to creating something like this. And you don't see this kind of collaboration elsewhere in the world. It just shows how much we can together work to achieve great quality outcomes. PAGE is being founded to build a culture of quality and future-ready talent. In our hope, everybody who gets employed by our industry goes through a forum such as this. This summit is special for all of us as IPA. Sudarshan said this, but it has commitment, coordination, and engagement of CEOs right at the top. This tone of the top is essential to build a culture of quality. This is not just desirable, it's essential. William Foster said, quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Ensuring quality is not only a regulatory obligation, but to me, very clearly, is a moral obligation to the patients and their families that we serve. Achieving that quality excellence and improving patient centricity is of the highest priority for our industry. In closing, again, first of all, I would want to appreciate and welcome you all again. You being here shows us that quality matters. I think you should all take pride in the fact that Indian pharma matters. India plays a vital role in the global pharma market. We have to commit to quality, recognize the need for continuous improvement in compliance and quality standards to maintain global leadership. Number 4, focus on quality culture. We have to recognize the importance of commitment to fostering a quality culture within organizations. It's very important to set the tone from the top, but it's the choices that we make on a daily basis on the shop floor that impact what actually comes out of quality. You make it happen on the shop floor for us as the industry professionals here. What you do on that shop floor matters more than everything. And lastly, I would expect you to understand that moral responsibility. This is not just an obligation. This is the moral responsibility to eventually saving people. That is what we need to keep at the center of it all. I used this quote yesterday, but we must together make medicines for the world a synonym for made in India. That is a very high standard, and that's what I would hope for all of you to achieve. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for sharing your thoughts on the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a video message from Dr. Patrizia Cavazzoni, Director of Center for Drug Evaluation and Research at USFDA. She could not be present here today due to multiple priorities, but she has been kind to send us a video message. I'm sure the message will set the direction for our summit. So team, can we please have the video on screen?
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrizia Cavazzoni, and I am the Director for the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research at FDA. It is my pleasure to be here today to say a few remarks that are going to be focused on product quality as well as data integrity issues that we have seen in bioavailability and bioequivalence studies. So India clearly plays a critical role in supplying medicines to the United States, and we have seen an increase since 2020 in both the percent of finished dose form manufacturers as well as the percent of API manufacturers that are located in India. And to give you an idea, 19% of API manufacturers for the US market are in India. Most are intended for solid oral dosage form drug products. India manufactures more than 500 sterile products and more than 100 of the medicines on the US list of essential medicine, medical countermeasures, and clinical inputs, which is available on our website. In fact, India represents 25% of the drug product manufacturers on that list. Last year, FDA inspected nearly 800 sites, and most were foreign, and 146 of those sites were in India. And remember that this number does not include the FDA pre-approval inspections, which are application-specific. And I just want to emphasize that by the end of last fiscal year, 11% of facilities in India had inspection outcomes of official action indicated, which was the highest percentage of any other global region. And I would encourage you to look at the data in the 2023 report on the state of pharmaceutical quality, which is posted on our website. So these quality problems pose a major risk of shortages, and we have seen a really serious example of this in the spring-summer of 2023 when we saw major shortages of essential oncology drugs as a result of quality issues in a manufacturer located in India. Let me now switch to another area of concern for us, which is over-the-counter drugs. We're seeing new entrants into the OTC space, and these new entrants tend to be largely cosmetic firms that are stepping into the drug space. Remember that over-the-counter drugs in the US are regulated as drugs. Or even more concerning to us, we're seeing industrial manufacturers that jump into the drug-making business. And we have seen over the years some very concerning trends related to product quality. We have seen ophthalmic products, eye drops that are made under poor conditions, are contaminated, have led to very serious adverse events, including deaths in immunocompromised patients, blindness, and so on. We have seen a worldwide crisis, really, due to contamination of cough and cold products, specifically pediatric cough and cold products, that we are contaminated with diethylene glycol or ethylene glycol, and there have been upward of 200 deaths globally, luckily not in the US, thanks to the fact that we imposed import alerts. And during the pandemic, we saw some very opportunistic manufacturers who introduced a hand sanitizer that was adulterated with methanol, which led to over 20 deaths in the United States, as well as reports of blindness and other serious events. And when we see these new manufacturers coming on board and register their facilities, it's very clear that many of these overseas manufacturers are not aware of the US requirements for testing of drugs. And so we tend to play a whack-a-mole with violation related to product quality. And this is particularly due to the fact that our authorities at FDA have a bit of a gap when it comes to our ability to inspect facilities that make over-the-counter drugs or monograph drugs before those drugs are entered into commerce in the United States. We have that authority for all other products, but not for monograph drugs, and we have asked Congress to fill that gap. So this is really a good segue to talk about quality culture. And this is why quality culture is so important to us and should be even more important or as important for manufacturers. And quality culture really starts at the top. Executives and senior management really set the tone for an organization's quality culture and provide support to build a quality culture and sustain it. And a quality culture will only flourish when there is a widespread buy-in at all levels of the organization and really everyone understands how they fit into the culture. And in the absence of a strong management support or employee buy-in, the culture can break down, leading to increased errors, non-conformances, and misconduct. An organization's leader is really critical in understanding the existing state of the quality culture in an organization, identifying barriers to change, and setting expectations for what the quality culture should be, including driving proactive prevention of quality issues, facilitating the raising of problem in the communications of errors or deviations rather than sweeping them under the carpet, and really fostering a culture of continuous improvement. And every single step in the pharmaceutical supply chain plays a role in encouraging a quality culture, including contractors and vendors, keeping in mind that the manufacturers are ultimately responsible for the quality of the product, of the work that their contractors and third-party vendors do. And this is a good transition to the last topic that I wanted to discuss with you today, which is a very concerning trends that we're seeing in data integrity problems as it pertains to bioavailability and bioequivalence studies that are done by contract research organizations in India. And since 2016, we have seen multiple data integrity issues when it comes to BE studies. Namely, we have had public communications on Semler, Panexo, Synchron, and just recently, in fact, hot off the press since last week, we also took another action for Synapse Labs, and where we uncovered additional and potentially sort of broader problems. And we're very worried about this. We have taken public action in these situations, but obviously there are some concerning downstream impact of these data integrity issues. If we look across all of these cases, we have good reason to believe that submission of falsified PK data to FDA has occurred in these cases. And some of the examples of what we have observed are point-to-point overlapping PK profiles of multiple subject pairs. We have seen non-random distribution of subject data into distinct cohorts to pass the bioequivalence study. We have seen questionable sample reanalysis schemes and widespread poor quality management system procedures. So I just want to make it very clear, and this is not debatable, FDA requires, mandates that quality data that is accurate, consistent, and reliable. And we cannot review applications unless those data are provided to us. And when we uncover these issues, as I will explain shortly, we take very decisive action. So I really have to urge the industry to really look at these problems. As I said, manufacturers are ultimately responsible for the conduct and the quality of the work that the CROs do on their behalf, and so we really need manufacturers to pay attention to this space. So as I mentioned earlier, there are some very serious impacts to these data integrity issues. So first, when we identify these problems, we take action and we change the TE code to BX. And this has far-reaching negative consequences in the industry, as well as patient care and the drug supply. So the BX-rated products lose the pharmacy level automatic substitution designation, and also as a result of that may face problems with sales contracts and purchasers who may just move away from these products because they cannot be automatically substituted at the pharmacy, and also because increasingly in the US, purchasers are paying attention to quality issues. Then there is a problem for the actual manufacturers because they have to go back and redo the studies, which is, of course, takes time and money, and it's really not sort of a good business proposition because during that time, a manufacturer may actually lose market share, revenue, and productivity. This is also a problem when it comes to shortages because we want to have a redundant supply chain. And if we have some manufacturers who are no longer in the market effectively because of the BX rating, we also have less sources for any single product. And this obviously increases the risk of shortages. But even most importantly, if these issues continue to happen, they will undermine the reputation of the generic industry and generic medicine and lower the confidence or undermine the confidence of patients, buyers, and the public in general. And we really cannot afford to do that. Over 90% of drugs in the US are generic drugs. It is essential that when a patient takes the drug that they can be assured of the quality of that drug. And falsified data does not equate to quality. Let me end with a call for action. We're all responsible for a quality culture. FDA has its role. We work with manufacturers to help them to have strong quality management systems. But at the end of the day, manufacturers are the ones who have to ensure that there is a strong quality culture in their organizations and that everybody in the organization understands what is expected to them, and that is to operate with integrity and to the highest quality. So we really need your organizations to have a culture that promotes informing FDA of any data quality concerns promptly so that we can start working with you to solve problems proactively, because before they become so intractable and so severe that they then lead to actions on the part of FDA, interruption of manufacturing, shortages, and so on. You know, we understand that there is a cost to quality. We understand that it is a cost in conducting BE studies. However, there is also a significant cost and a major impact in just looking at the bottom line, for instance, going to the lowest bidder when it comes to CROs and so on. And also, last but not least, it's really essential that manufacturers pay a lot of attention to the data that they're receiving from CROs, for instance, by looking for anomalies, for any sort of irregularities in the data. There are ways to do this with the advent of generative AI. There will be even more ways of doing so. For instance, manufacturers should really pay attention to the shape of PK data profiles and looking for PK profiles that look too similar or the same as the next one, which could really point to manufacturer data. So let me conclude by emphasizing that we are all in this together. And FDA is a partner to industry, in addition to obviously having some very clear regulatory responsibilities. This conference is a great space to share information and experiences and to really discuss what the goals should be when it comes to quality culture and making sure that the quality of medicines is reliable and lives up to the standards, not only the standards of FDA, but even most importantly, the expectation of every single patient who takes these drugs every single day. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very good conference.
Yes, on behalf of IPA, I would like to thank Dr. Cavazzoni for taking out the time and sharing her message at this summit. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, now for the special remarks, please join me in welcoming on the dais Dr. Rajeev Raghuvanshi, Drug Controller General of India for Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a warm welcome.
Good morning. Respected Dr. Chawla, Secretary, Department of Pharmaceuticals, Nilesh ji, Sudarshan Jain ji, friends and colleagues, happy to be here. Feels more at home because lots of familiar faces from my past life. So today, I can't agree more with Nilesh and Patrizia on the quality agenda. And as she said that we all are together in this journey, I'm part of that journey. And me and my organization for last about 15 months have been trying to do our bit and had good successes, if I can say, when it comes to changing the culture, because changing culture is a slow process. So we can replace parts of machine, but if we have to change the whole system and culture, it takes little more time. But I think the journey has started well, and I'll show you some of the points which we have been able to do and some of the points which we still feel that needed to be taken, and we are moving in the right direction. So, issue, as everybody has been talking, is simple. It is one of non-compliance which leads to the quality issues. So let me give you some information on what all has been done in last years, which will have far-reaching implications on the quality issues in this country, the way we operate and the way the quality medicines are will be produced in this country. So some of the points at the client-facing activities which have been done, which has very strong impact on quality. The first and foremost, the most noise-creating activity currently for last about 1.5 years is the risk-based inspection going on in this country. We have been successfully doing it, inspected about 400 manufacturing units, and not very happy to say that more than 36% of them had to be closed because there was reason to close them. But the good part is it has moved the needle, and things on the ground, the way we observe and the way we are getting the feedback, the perception and the reality, both are changing on the ground. So that's something which has happened very good. We bought the Schedule M, revised Schedule M on 28th of December. From this 1st July, a couple of days away from here, the first group of industries having more than 250 crores of turnover, they would actually come into the compliance purview of revised Schedule M. And from 1st of January 2025, those which are having turnover less than 250 crores would actually be bought into that purview. We will be starting our revised audit procedures, which is as per the revised Schedule M from 1st of July. And I'm sure the industry and people sitting here have taken note of this, and the changes which were required would have been in place, and we will not get surprises when we do the audits. Happy to say that the last international complaint from WHO and any other agency which were bothering us has not been there since last July. More than 8 months we have been able to control the issues which were happening from the quality point of view, especially the cough syrup and some of the sterile product issues which we were on an average getting about 2 of the complaints every month. So we have been able to control that. But that is not that we have solved it, because it's a complex problem to be solved, and a lot of parallel movements happen which ultimately impact the quality, and we have one by one or in parallel are trying to deal with all of them. On technical side, we approved the first CAR-T therapy few months back in this country. We approved the first software as medical device for Lupin. Nilesh is sitting here. So a lot of progressive things are happening. Technically, the organization is also trying to build that organization which can do these technical reviews to approve the latest medicines in the world. One of the most talked about issues with CDSCO is that subject expert committee functioning, that we have already taken on priority. One part of it has been solved. The scheduling thing has practically been solved, because I haven't seen deferments for last more than 6 months now. So whatever we plan and whatever we intimate to industry, those projects we are doing on that date. The advanced dates are being shared, and that is a good change which has happened. The other equally important part is how the expert committee is taking decision and how it is being communicated to the stakeholders. So that part is, as I talk, under review, and we are coming out with a guidance, maximum maybe a month or so. We are halfway through on that, and we will put a very clear framework on how the expert committee would actually work within that framework. The waiver issues, the overriding the previous decisions, the behavior of experts, the expertise actually being carried by the expert committees, all these points are being addressed, and I hope that that guidance would bring a lot of changes in the operational part of the expert committee. So that's something very good which is going to happen. There were complaints that regulators are not actually meeting the stakeholders. Given the issues and the time constraints, a part of that can be true also, but to solve that problem, what I personally started was that we have started a walk-in meeting for the industry and other stakeholders twice a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays of every week, I'm meeting stakeholders without appointment from 5 in the evening till it completes for that day. And I'm happy to say that more than 100 issues of stakeholders have been solved in last 3 months. Either we solve it then and there, or the solution actually starts from the day the stakeholders comes and meet me. So that is actually a very successful initiative which has happened. On digitization front, we all know, and you know more than me, that the digitization is one aspect which builds the trust, because trust comes from transparency. And on this front, a lot of things are happening at CDSCO. More than 95% of the regulatory activities are now digitized. The latest one was issuing the BNOC to stakeholders, and you will see a data which is very encouraging and an example how digitization can help us. And similarly, there are many more things which we have already digitized, and remaining ones are in pipeline. Very soon you will see complete paperless CDSO to help all the stakeholders. We have started doing enhanced technical scrutiny, and this is one area where many a times we see conflict between the regulator and the stakeholder, because the statement always comes that it was not happening earlier this way. Why now CDSO is asking this kind of data? But this is actually part of the regulatory culture or quality culture we have been discussing since morning, because we have to change, and most of you have understood, and that's a good part. And more technical interventions from regulator side is also a part of changing that culture and making the stakeholders understand that this is also important. It's not that we are doing changes only in areas where we have interface with the external stakeholders. We are doing a lot of changes internally also, because we also know, as one of the speakers said, that it starts from top. So CDSO as an organization is also looking inward and doing lots of internal changes also. For the first time in the history of CDSO, last year we did 207 transfers of our officers, which has actually brought a lot of changes, and changes in especially changes in the mindset of the people who are working there. We have also started some departmental inquiries on people who were found to be involved in malpractices. We have also terminated some of our team members on the charges of malpractices. We have also started a recent initiative, or maybe I can say activated. We have started an internal quality assurance team, which is actually traveling throughout the country and looking into our own working by the team members. And we started with the port offices. So we are currently auditing internally all our airport and the seaport and the land port or dry port offices, and our internal improvement process is on. And the observations are actually shared with all the port offices together, so that everybody understands where is the gap, and everybody tries to improve that. We see lots of good movement from that side also. A very robust internal capacity building activity is going on, having increased coordination with the state, because our regulatory system is a federal structure. So states are also equal stakeholders, and very important when it comes to audits and inspections and issuing licenses for manufacturing. So I see a significant improvement in the relationship between state and center. And for our internal operation at my end, I have digital dashboard now for each and every team, which helps me every morning looking at dependency and issues, and interventions can be done. And we have been able to install an access control system in CDSO building, which also helps us avoid unnecessary interference from people and stakeholders during the work time. So what's coming? Let's spend some time in what's coming in future. So 4 big ticket projects in pipeline, which are about to start, or one of them would already have been started. So we are coming out with a digital platform which would cover the complete regulatory value chain in this country. Each and every stakeholder, government, private, semi-government, who has any stake in the regulatory value chain would be brought onto that platform. We call it the digital drug regulatory system. Organizations like, of course, CDSO, the state FDA, the Customs, Pharmacopoeia Commission, NIB, and any and every organization, and the ambition is to go up to the industry manufacturers and retailers, and whatever activities they do, the data should actually be part of that platform. And that would help us create a huge database in this country on the manufacturing and the sales aspects of the medicine. And it would be like the income tax operations, that we would be able to monitor things happening sitting in the CDSO headquarters about each and every corner where regulatory intervention is required. So that's a big activity which the approval process is on. I think next few days we should be able to get the approval, final approval from the government, because it's a heavy investment. It takes a little more time for approvals. We are also, you would be happy to know that we are also starting a regulatory rationalization initiative where we have hired 2 external consultancy organizations of international repute. One of them is for looking at our internal processes, the way we work inside CDSCO, the way we communicate within ourselves among the groups, and the other one is looking at the DNC Act and rules to rationalize, remove the redundancies, and how to simplify the whole regulation. And one of them for internal processes, what I came to know yesterday, is starting their work from 1st of July. The other one would take a couple of more weeks to start. So that is actually something which is going to help us in a very futuristic way, and you will see significant changes in the regulations, the way we work and the way the regulation is there. We are trying to simplify to the possible extent, and we have selected best in the game to help us doing this. The third point is very important from the review point of view, and this is a gap which was identified some time back, and I had the guts to go and talk to the senior most functionaries in the government, and it has actually been accepted that yes, this is a big gap. CDSCO unfortunately today is not having a single scientific cadre to do internal review of the files, and that is why our, especially the clinical side, if I see, 100% of our review depends on external expert committee, and that is the area which the stakeholders are currently not very comfortable with the way it works, as I said in the beginning. So we are actually initiating a process to build an internal scientific cadre in CDSCO, so that more than 50-60% of the activities of the file review can happen internally. That helps me in time, with respect to time of review, that helps in reducing the load on SECs, and that helps also in bringing consistency in the decision making, which currently is an issue when it comes to the SEC working. And I also wanted to add the fourth one, though it is not part of CDSCO, but my responsibility at Pharmacopoeia Commission still continues as heading Pharmacopoeia Commission, and we had committed that we will bring out the digital IP, and you will be happy to know that next 1 month the product is ready. It is under the final stage of testing, and you will see the digital IP being launched in this country at par with USP, EP, and other leading pharmacopoeias. So that is something going to help this whole system and building that culture of quality, because the accessibility would become easy for all the stakeholders. Some of the other things which, those were 4 very big ticket items, but apart from that, a lot of other things are happening. As I said, the SEC working guidance is under preparation. Export license rationalization has already, a part has happened, where we took over the export NOC issuing from the states to center, and the reason was that we wanted to create a database and a unified system, because we were seeing differences from state to state in operational aspects. Um, we are also currently working on how do we harmonize the issue of WHO COPP, making it digital, because currently a lot of states are actually doing it physical. So that is something which is coming shortly. We are also going to harmonize within CDSCO the way we accept and approve the changes in the clinical trial sites or the investigators. So in some of the groups it is notification, in some of the groups it is approval. So we are going to harmonize all that and make that digital. So that activity is going on. I have had 2 meetings with a team from IISc Bangalore, which is actually working in the area of artificial intelligence. And we are discussing how artificial intelligence can actually help CDSCO and the regulator in actually cutting down on the time of review and approving the applications. So this is another area at a rudimentary stage, but this will also actually mature in some time. And the ambition is to use AI also in our regulatory processes. And also, currently, as the whole country is trying to move from volume to value, which cannot happen unless until we change the imitation to innovation. And for that, we have accepted and realized that we need to rationalize the regulatory aspects of discovery research, and that is going to happen soon. So this is a data on the export NOC. You will see that if there are no queries, we are actually clearing on an average 1.7 days for a NOC. Including queries, we have been taking only 3 to 4 days in clearing the applications. The complaint was that it was actually taking 20 to 30 to sometimes 60 days in some of the states when it came to the NOC issue. So this is something which has a very positive development. Few slides on how the approval timelines have moved in different divisions. So if you see this slide, this is for vaccines. The dark blue is actually last 1 year of approvals of application. The light blue in the background is what happened 1 year ago. And only thing to note here is the spikes which you see earlier, we have been able to control those spikes. And that is a very good achievement because now the consistency is there, the predictability is there. Same, you see this is for NDA approval. The spikes have been removed. This may be heartburn for some of the people who are actually getting things done very quickly. Some of them were getting very delayed. So we are trying to rationalize and stabilize that whole system. Subsequent NDA, same story. The FDCs, the same story. So to sum up this part, that we have been able to rationalize the approval timeline in terms of stabilizing it and bringing more predictability. This has much more scope of improvement, and I think that process is on, and we will do that as it comes. Similarly, the global clinical trials approval timelines, the feedback from stakeholders is also very positive. This is for bioequivalence, where again the spikes were there, which we have been able to cut down. And some of the statics when it comes to the applications of GCT taking to SEC for discussion and the decision. And if you see here, the extreme right, we have been able to bring down this significantly, which is evident here. And similarly, another parameter which related to GCT, again here I see that a very significant reduction in terms of the timelines of approving applications in GCT is concerned. So where are we faltering? So a lot of things are happening. We have been discussing quality is an issue, which is a reality. So just a thought for all of you, that where are we faltering? We have to think that why all this is happening, what we are seeing currently in this country, which has implication on the global pharmaceutical business and of course on the, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so if you see all these different blue sparks, where one of these, are we at a stage where we have to think that we have to limit the number of companies, because these issues, are they coming from huge number of manufacturers, which brings unnecessary competition in the system? Which should we start thinking? Should we start thinking in terms of reducing the number of products? I don't know how many brands, I can't count also. And is there a need to restrict those brand names also, brands also in the market? Is there a need? Is this happening because of a skill deficit or will deficit? During RBI, we have seen that both the skill and will deficit is there. A lot of people are there coming forward to help industry upgrade their knowledge, but I see that there is a deficit from the industry side, that they are not ready to accept that. So there is a will deficit also along with the skill deficit. We have analyzed last 1 year data of the not of standard quality, which we every month put it on portal of CDSCO, and we see same company giving different kinds of NSQs month after month. We also see that same product, which is mainly the delayed or modified release, made by multiple companies, failing in one or the other parameter month after month. So there is a clear-cut indication that there is a skill gap. But how do we fill that skill gap? There comes the issue of will. And in industry, especially one extreme of less than 250 crore turnover, they have to change that mindset and ready to accept the help from people, the technocrats who are ready to help them. Also, I don't hesitate in saying that, do we need to have a relook at the regulatory system and the regulatory whole structure and the regulators in their thinking? Is that a problem in what we are facing today? Is it a debate of cost versus quality? Because I also see a lot of these samples which are failing in NSQ, they are actually from the government purchases, and that runs on the L1 system. And easiest thing for a company or manufacturer to reduce cost is to compensate through quality, which is not something which they have to do or they should do. But unfortunately, that looks to be the low-hanging fruit for them. So is there a need for having a relook on that system? So there may be many of these which are playing together, which need to be addressed and solved if we have to move forward in that journey of quality culture. So thank you with this, and thanks a lot for having a patient hearing. And again, thank you, Jain Sahab, for giving this opportunity, and happy to be here again. I'm here for any discussion if anybody wants to have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Raghuvanshi, for sharing the progress, highlights of the progress we've made so far, and of course, throwing some light on what the future for the industry will look like, but most importantly, for your intervention in streamlining the processes, which I'm sure the industry appreciates. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is my proud privilege and it is our honor to welcome on stage Dr. Arunish Chawla, Secretary to the Government of India in the Department of Pharmaceuticals, for his keynote address. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Nilesh, Gupta ji, Dr. Sudarshan Jain, Dr. Raghuvanshi, DGCI, captains of the Indian pharma industry, and our colleagues and guests from USFDA and CDER. Quality, quality, quality. Let me change the tone and the mood of the proceedings a bit. Stardom is not limited to Bollywood alone. India's pharma industry is a star performer, so give it a big hand. Quality is the buzzword today, and I'm very happy that a summit of this kind has been organized where advancements in manufacturing, advancements in regulatory practices, and quality will be discussed together under the one roof. We heard Patrizia speak this morning. We heard Dr. Raghuvanshi on the steps being taken. Let me summarize the quality theme as follows. It stands on 3 legs: quality for the market, quality for the patient, and quality for the neighbor. Quality for the market is what everyone in the industry strives for. Quality fetches a premium on the market. Quality gives a standing. And it has been my experience and firm belief that reputation play is the best defense against malpractices. And that is what needs to be reinforced. And reinforcing that means a balanced approach. It also means giving a fair opportunity to the industry to correct itself. No one likes loss of earnings. No one likes closed plants. No one likes loss of jobs. The second important aspect of quality is quality for the patient, which is what the regulatory system does, which is what the regulation does. India is moving very fast on that front, and it would not be wrong to say that going forward, quality will be our mission. It will be the center point of our policy framework, and I'm very happy to say that industry has risen to the occasion, and organizing a summit like this is the testimony to that commitment. We have, as the DCGI pointed out, upgraded the Schedule M of the drug and cosmetic rules and upgraded it to maybe in certain situations or certain dimensions even better than the GMP standards, the WHO GMP standards. Industry is working hard on achieving those deadlines. The audits that will begin in July will help and aid that process. It will ensure that we make drugs, medicines, biosimilars, and Meditech products that are world-class at par with the best in the world. As the Honorable Prime Minister stated from his first speech from the ramparts of the Red Fort, zero defect and zero effect. Zero defect means quality world-class, absolutely no defect. And zero effect is what I will come to when I talk about externality. Many plants have already started working on it. We do understand quality is expensive, quality needs investment. And to help the medium and small plants, we have reformulated a scheme which was called the P2R scheme, the Pharmaceutical Technology Upgradation Scheme. It is now called the revamped P2Rs. The scheme is a success. Many medium and small units have come forward to improve and upgrade their quality. They have done the gap analysis, and the first tranche of these applications will be approved next week. Quality and externality, because even when one person fails, his failure affects other people in the industry. His failure affects the ethical manufacturers and the players who are his peers in the market. And that is why sensitivity to quality, attention to the quality systems is extremely important. To give the right incentives and the right nudge, we have built in GMP standards as a mandatory precondition in public procurement systems. And also in the Jan Aushadhi program. That is sufficient nudge for everyone to ensure that's the bare minimum. And our industry which exports has done outstanding work. They have not only achieved GMP standards, but they have also abided by the requirements of our export market in North America and Europe. They have strived hard to achieve every next stringent standard. It is not without reason that India has the largest number of USFDA and EMA approved plants outside their parent jurisdictions. Going forward, we will continue to strive relentlessly to improve quality and also diversify our portfolio. Over the next 5 years, about 300 molecules, both large and small, will be coming off the patent cliff. Around 24 of these are blockbuster drugs. And industry is already geared up. I need not divulge the trade secrets, but we'll be there. And to top it all, we will be there with top-class quality, because that is our mission, that is our strategy going forward. And we work together, regulators and industry are partners. We work in lockstep, and we will ensure that we provide world-class medicines, world-class biosimilars, biologicals, and world-class devices to make the Indian pharma and meditech dream a success. With these few words, thank you for inviting me here, and without taking much time, I would request the summit proceed further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chawla, for taking the time to address this gathering and also throwing light on the importance of quality. Ladies and gentlemen, as shared by Mr. Nilesh Gupta, IPA has been committed to engaging in thought leadership and knowledge sharing activities with the industry for several years now. The Quality Forum is committed to work towards quality excellence. The IPA Quality Forum subgroups have worked consistently throughout last year and have prepared best practices documents on good engineering practices, maintenance of facilities and equipments, as well as process analytical technologies in oral solids and API. Here, I would like to request Mr. Shirish Belapure, Senior Technical Advisor, IPA, to please join us on stage to brief us on the reports. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Belapure.
Good morning. You know that our Quality Forum was started in April 2015. And since then, every year, we are, with the experts from the industry, creating a document on the best practices. This year, we have two documents which we are going to release now. One is Good Engineering Practices, which is a very important document which details out from the design to delivery, complete aspects, what needs to be done in the premises, what needs to be done into the water system. Those all things have been covered. It is almost 600 pages document. And another is the process technology, process analytical technology, PAT, what we call. This is a prerequisite for the prerequisite for going to the continuous manufacturing in future. I will just tell the names of the people who contributed because they worked for almost 1 year to create that document. So for the good engineering practices, we were having Rajendra Das from Sun Pharma, who was the leader for this group, along with K. Madhusudan Reddy, Dr. DRL, Nirav Trivedi, Torrent, Mangesh Kulkarni from Cipla, Ajay Joshi from Zydus, and Gurudatta Bhatt from Lupin. Next was process analytical technologies. The people were led by Kelvas Selvan Ramaraju from Sun Pharma, Pratik Patel from Torrent, Manish Parikh from Torrent, Aruna Khanolkar from Cipla, Sanjay Sharma from Zydus, and Amol Galande from Lupin, in addition to Sri Ram Murthy from DRL. So, we'll release the document now.
Yes. Yes. Mr. Belapure, may I request you to please join our dignitaries. I would now like to welcome on the subgroup heads, Dr. Kalai Selvan Ramaraju, Mr. Rajendra Kumar Das, and Dr. Rajeev Desai to please join us on stage to release the reports. And I would now request Dr. Arunish Chawla to join us for the releasing the IPA Best Practices document on good engineering practices. Also request Dr. Rajeev Raghuvanshi, Mr. Nilesh Gupta, and Mr. Sudarshan Jain to also join in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause for this release. And now, for IPA Best Practices document on process analytical technologies. May I request all our dignitaries on the dais to please look to the center camera. We'd like to capture the release of the report. Thank you so much. And now for IPA Best Practices document on process analytical technologies, can I request the team to bring the report on stage? All our dignitaries to release the report of IPA Best Practices document on process analytical technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, join us in the release of this report as well. May I request all our dignitaries to please hold the report for a photo opportunity to capture this moment. Thank you so much. Thank you, sirs. With that, I'd like to thank all our dignitaries on the dais and request you to kindly take a seat in the audience. Thank you so much, Dr. Chawla, Dr. Raghuvanshi. Thank you, sir. And of course, I'm sure everyone present here would like to get their hands on these two reports. So here we display the QR code of the report. As you see it on the screen, you can take out your smartphones, just scan the QR code, and you will be able to download both the reports. It is also going to be available on IPA website to download, but if you'd like to do it right away, the QR code is on the screen.